I'd like to show you how to calculate a regular expression for a given automaton. Of course, you are smart enough to figure out the regular expression by just looking at this automaton, but if you are asked to calculate the regular expression, or if you want to do it automatically, then you can apply the formula I will show you in this video. Well, but first, this is the formula, but first I have to explain to you what this stuff means. Well, the R means that you have a regular expression. The I means that the regular expression, it stands for a part of the automaton that starts in state I and ends in state G. And you are allowed to go through states up to and inclusive number k. Well, let me show you some examples. Let's say you want to have a regular expression that goes from state 0 to 2, and you are not allowed to go through any other state, so I write -1 here. So you are not allowed to go through any other state, so that means, well, let's say here's one state you begin with, and here's one state you end with, then that's fine. This is the beginning and that is the end, but they don't count into passing through. But if here would be any other state, then you would pass through on your way. So this regular we want to find a regular expression from 0 to 2, where you are not allowed to pass through any other state while you move from 0 to 2. So this is state 0 because it's named Q0, and this is state 2, and you are not allowed to go through any other state, but you don't really need to because here is no other state, but here you have the transition. That is an A, and that means for this regular expression the answer would be A, because A would move you from 0 to 2 without passing through any other states. Well, what is the regular expression when you want to go from state 0 to state 0 and you are not allowed to pass through any other state? Well, here's Q0 and you want to go to Q0 without passing any other state, and you don't see any loop here, and the answer is, well, you don't need to read anything because you are just here. That means you have to read epsilon, so the empty string. That means you don't need to read anything, you just stay here, and then, well, that will be your move from 0 to 0. Well, what is a regular expression when you want to move from Q0 to Q0, but you are allowed to go through any other state? Well, one example I showed you here, you can just stay here, but now you are allowed to go through any other state, but it just adds nothing because here in this automaton there is no way to go back to Q0 once you left it. So this, well, the new states you are allowed to pass through brings us nothing because the answer will stay the same. It's the empty string. Well, what is a regular expression? If you are in state 1, Q1, and you want to move to state 0, and you are allowed to pass through any other state in this automaton? Well, as you can see, if you are in Q1, then there are no transitions that would bring you away from it. So it's not possible to go from Q1 to Q0, and that means the answer is the empty set. That means, well, there is no answer. You can't move from Q1 to Q0, no matter through which states you are allowed to pass. So now I showed you what those expressions mean. Let's just use the formula. When I want to find the formula for the whole automaton, that means my first expression will be where I start in the initial state, so in Q0, and my G will be the final state. In this case, it's Q1. And K, I begin with K being the at the beginning I'm allowed to pass through all states. So this expression just means I want to find a regular expression that begins in the initial state and ends in the final state, and I'm allowed to go through any other state. And this regular expression will therefore be equivalent to the whole automaton. And now the formula says the first I have to put in my variables here. Here you have an or, and the expression says, well, in one case you have a direct way. So here I and G will just stay the same, but K will be -1, so it will be 1. And it means this would be well, let me start again. If you want to go from the initial state through the final state, then you have two possibilities. In one case, you have a direct way where you don't need the state I'm subtracting here. And in the other possibility, I will go from my first state to the one I'm not allowed to pass through, and then from that one to the other one. So let me just draw the or here, and I will put the variables into that. The other possibility will bring me from Q0 to the one I'm excluding here. I'm not allowed to go through it anymore. And from that I can do any loop that is maybe there. And from that one, I'm not allowed to pass through anymore. I'm moving to my final state. Well, and then I filled those formula. Now I have several possibilities. If it's easy enough to include the regular expressions into this formula, then I'm done. And if it's not possible for me to read it from the automaton, then I can do another step. So let's imagine I can't figure out this first thing anymore, or I can't figure it out yet. Then I will put it again into this formula. So if I want to figure out what this is, the formula says I'm going from one possibility is this one, and the other possibility is that I move from 0 to 1, where I'm allowed to do any loop. So from 1 to 1 with the star, which is very important here, and from 1 to 1. Well, in this case, my K and my G are the same, or J is it? Sorry. In this case, they may be the same, but I hope this doesn't confuse you. So, and if I can't figure them out yet, then I can repeat the step until I reach -1, where I'm not allowed to go through any state of the automaton, because in this case I'm already allowed to go through 0. Well, but let's try to figure out what all those things mean. Well, let me begin with this. Here's a regular expression that brings me from 0 to 1, where I'm not allowed to go through anything. So this will be the same. Oh, sorry. From 0 to 1. Sorry, this will be that one, and it says it's a D. Or the other possibility, well, this is the same as here. And then, well, from 1 to 1, I already told you this is epsilon because there's no other way, and from, well, 1 to 1 again, it's also epsilon. So this whole expression here will be the same as d, because epsilon is just nothing and you can leave it away, and then you have d or d for this expression. So this one is the same as d, and that means, well, let me copy it so I can write under it. So I just figured out that the regular expression from 0 to 1, where I'm only allowed to go through state 0 and 1, is the same as d. And then here I have to fit in the regular expression that brings me from 0 to 2, where I'm allowed to go through 1, but, well, using 1 there's no other possibility than the direct way. So from 0 to 2, this is just an A. And then, well, then I'm allowed to do any loop at Q2, which is this one. And again, there's no other way than the direct way. It just brings me nothing, that I'm allowed to go through any other state. And then from Q2 to Q1, this is a C. And, well, I constructed the automaton so that you can see how the formula works. So here's my expression for the whole automaton that's equivalent to this regular expression. And the formula just gave me the two possibilities. In one case, I can go directly from the initial state to the final state without going through the other state. That is my possibility D. Or I can go to the other possibility is to go to the state where I'm not allowed to go through anymore, where I make as many loops as there are, and then going to the final state. And that is, and I hope that made you a little bit clear how the formula works.